A powerful storm system to bring a blizzard, flooding, and severe weather next week. Welcome in, everybody. Great to see you on this Saturday. Hopefully, we had a wonderful first week of March out there and getting ready for the week ahead. And that's when we need to watch for this powerful storm potential that I think really could impact a lot of folks in a big way. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell for the latest notifications. And thank you to our channel members. Appreciate you folks. And if you would like to become a channel member, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button for access to cool perks and potentially have your name added to the list here shown next to me. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and really just dive right into the weather today because a lot to discuss, and you can see why next to me here. This is the latest run of our European computer model showing that storm system, and I think it's going to be pretty strong. In fact, this model could be underdoing it just a little bit in the pressure field. We could get down into the 970s. You cannot even rule out a storm in the 960 range, at least the upper 960s, as some of our ensemble members have at least hinted at. And either way, again, going to bring a lot of wind, a lot of precipitation, both frozen and just good old-fashioned rain, and a lot of wind energy that is likely to produce some severe weather with this storm system. So we're going to break it down component by component in today's video. But before we get there, let's go ahead and talk about what's happening out there right now, because that is also very important as we have active weather currently impacting portions of the lower 48. And you might be able to pick out the area I'm talking about here. Yeah, back down towards New Mexico and Texas, we've got a pretty feisty little spin here. This is a nice little cutoff trough, if you will, cutoff low pressure system, bringing plenty of cold air and lift, and with that, some winter weather this afternoon and even into this evening through portions of New Mexico, Texas, and Oklahoma before tomorrow getting kicked out to the east and going to bring just a good old-fashioned rain and a severe weather threat. That's another thing we cannot forget about today and tomorrow. Obviously, all folks talking about the storm next week, but today, tomorrow, and even Monday going to be pretty active days as well, and that's why we're going to start with it. So there's the storm system. You can see it there on satellite loop, and another place you can see it is current radar imagery, and you can kind of see that area blossoming here on radar. Now, elsewhere in the country, not a whole lot happening. A little bit of light snow into the interior northeast. We've got a little bit of a small shortwave bringing some slight, or light snow, I should say, rather, into the UP of Michigan and back into portions of Wisconsin. But really, the most active weather currently down here into Texas and Oklahoma. Heavy rain and heavy snow. The heaviest snow threat going to be back out here into the panhandles and then even into New Mexico, although not a lot falling right now. We've seen a good bit already and could add some more to it this afternoon in that region. And kind of to the south of it, in the warm sector, yeah, we could see some severe weather down into portions of East Texas, Louisiana, southern Mississippi, Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, and then tomorrow that's going to get extended into southern Georgia and into the Jacksonville area. So not just a snow threat, but also a rain and severe weather threat with this storm system. And we'll definitely talk about it more here coming right up. So we'll go ahead and do that and take a look at our latest North American model showing the storm pretty well here. This is this afternoon, right around 2 p.m. or so. You can kind of see what's beginning to unfold out here. We've got that snow in blue, and then we've got that rain in good old-fashioned green here from portions of Dallas-Fort Worth up to Oklahoma City, back towards the south and towards the east, seeing some of that rain. Now, moving ahead into time, this evening, you'll notice what happens. The storm really gets going, and I think this is going to be the period of the heaviest snowfall over the Texas Panhandle, the Amarillo area, most likely to probably cash in with at least a couple of inches of snow, very heavy wet snow at that. This is not going to be a fluffy, dry snow. This is going to be a very wet March-style snow, which you would expect as well. We are in March after all. But do watch this evening. Again, severe weather could become a concern out here into the warm sector. A lot of Gulf humidity kind of surging northward ahead of this storm system. That's going to fuel it with just enough wind energy in the atmosphere that we could definitely get a couple strong storms. Biggest threat probably going to be straight line winds, maybe even a little bit of hail, but cannot rule out a couple isolated tornadoes this evening and then into tomorrow. Check it out here. This gets us towards the midnight hour. By the way, clocks go back tonight, or I guess go forward rather. We spring forward, not go back, but going to gain an hour of daylight. So you're going to lose an hour of sleep tonight. Tomorrow, you're going to have an extra hour of daylight, which personally I'm excited for. I think that'll definitely give a boost to morale out there, having an extra hour during the evening to kind of do things and get out there and enjoy some of the warmer weather that's going to be on the way this week. But back to the current storm system. Yeah, just good old-fashioned rain, I think, this evening. And again, that severe weather threat in the Bauxite area we're going to talk about from the Storm Prediction Center, but the snow threat begins to wind down by tomorrow morning. Really, today is going to be the big day for snow. Could see a couple wet snowflakes mix into portions of Arkansas. I know it's hard to see on the map here. We still have very cold upper level temperatures kind of riding with this precipitation shield. So the same thing that's going to produce the snow over Texas and Oklahoma will move over Arkansas. It'll be a little warmer at that point into time. So expect less of a winter weather threat there, but definitely could see some wet snowflakes try to mix into that region. But mostly just a good old-fashioned rain event. And then tomorrow afternoon, notice the bulk of the heavy rain gets back down towards southern Georgia, the Florida Panhandle, and even portions of the low country of South Carolina. Small severe weather threat there tomorrow. And then the storm really kind of cranks up. This is Saturday evening. Check it out overnight, Sunday rather, Sunday evening. I haven't quite gotten enough caffeine in my system yet today, but check this out, overnight Sunday, and here we go. I'll pause it right here at Monday morning. Talk about a storm system. This is very heavy rain, folks, over the Carolinas. Do not be surprised for your Monday morning commute to run into flooding problems, especially in South Carolina. The good news, check out some of the heaviest of this rain going right over our wildfire situation there in Horry County, South Carolina. So that'll be good. That'll help hopefully kind of, tamper that down a little bit. But flooding could become a concern here from Columbia over to Florence, Fayetteville, Charleston, a city that, it doesn't take much to flood. You get a rain shower and it floods in Charleston. This could definitely cause some street flooding down that way. I mean, that's a good amount of rain over a pretty short period of time. Starts getting going again Sunday afternoon, winding up here during the overnight of Sunday into Monday, and just an all-out messy day, and it continues into Monday afternoon. Check it out, even kind of a secondary burst of heavy rain on the backside of this thing. That gets us to Monday evening, and at that point, the storm kind of finally pulling away, but I think flooding will be a threat down into the Carolinas for Monday. Not something a lot of people are talking about, but definitely something I think we need to monitor out of this storm system earlier in the week before we get to the bigger storm later in the week, which again could add flooding concerns. So this could be a bit of a precursor event for what's to come later in the week in the Carolinas. But the good news, again, I think we'll get some nice days in between. We'll talk about that later on in the video. All right, so how much snow are we talking? Let's go back to that kind of map here if I can get the screen in the right position. Here we go. Now, most of this has already fallen over New Mexico, but Amarillo could still pick up another inch or two of snowfall before all is said and done. Then you kind of zoom out. Where else are we going to see snow? Yeah, not really anywhere else. For some reason, this map just does not like the Northeast. I will say some light snow showers possible into the interior Northeast over the next couple of days. No winter storms, though, on the horizon for you folks. And then even a little bit of light snow up into the northern tier of Minnesota and North Dakota. Going to be possible over the next day or so. All right, severe weather, another threat we need to monitor here. Not a huge deal by any means, but a marginal risk today from Dallas over through the entire state of Louisiana, southern Mississippi, Alabama, the Florida Panhandle could see a couple strong storms this afternoon and evening. And that does, unfortunately, include a small tornado threat. Not huge, but the highest chance for it going to be through New Orleans, Baton Rouge, into Lafayette, Lake Charles, really the I-10 corridor from Beaumont all the way to Tallahassee. Going to be the, I would say, primed up spot for a tornado threat this evening. And then tomorrow, another severe weather threat with a small tornado threat, Panama City, Tallahassee, really the entire Florida, Big Bend, and Panhandle region over to Jacksonville, Valdosta, Dothan, the same area Helene went right through. As I remember kind of being there on the ground in Florida when it happened. But definitely could see a couple tornadoes. Not expecting an outbreak, but definitely have a way to get watches and warnings should they be issued today or tomorrow. Now, what is arguably the bigger threat here, I think, is going to be flooding. And this could even be underdone a little bit. But these are some pretty high numbers, folks. You get down towards Charleston, it says 1.5 inches. I'll be honest with you, I think this might be underdone a little bit. This is the Weather Prediction Center forecast, so the folks that NOAA made this one. I would increase these numbers back into South Carolina and Georgia. I think we could get areas of 2 to 4 inches of rain, so just prepare for that now. Not everyone's going to see it, but flooding could be a concern in that area with some of the latest model guidance. So we'll watch it, keep you updated. Obviously, I'll have another video tomorrow before this rain event starts, and we'll see what the latest models say, but this could be underdone a little bit, so just be prepared for that. Same thing for Charlotte. It says 1/10 of an inch of rain. I mean, that could be really underdone. Same thing for, Myrtle Beach area. It says about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. That could be underdone. We'll see. But just know flooding could become a concern in this region as we go into our Sunday and Monday especially. All right. Let's go ahead now and talk about what's to come next week. Obviously, this big storm system we've been discussing, yeah, it's still coming. It's still on the horizon. Here's the setup for it. We're going to get kind of a precursor to the precursor, if you will. I said this southeastern storm Monday and Tuesday could be, or I guess really Sunday and Monday, rather. Got my days all sorts of mixed up on the Saturday, but I said that could be a bit of a precursor. I think so. Here it is on Tuesday, but then you notice another storm back out west. We've kind of got eyeballs looking at us on the map, one over the Pacific, one over the Atlantic. Both of these going to move in before the major storm later next week. This one out east, that's the one we just talked about, so we'll kind of push that off to the side. Another storm, though, working into Southern California by Tuesday morning. I don't think this one will be a huge deal by any means, especially compared to what's to come later in the week. A little bit of a precursor event, and this could be important for another reason. So here's the storm. This is Wednesday, likely to have low pressure at the surface. This could produce a little bit of severe weather. Don't let your guard down. That could be a possibility. It could also help us a little bit, though. Now, some of the talk from the experts and kind of just something I'm seeing in the models as well, is does this area of disturbed weather kind of rob moisture return further north? Because I think the highest kinematics we're going to see with our storm next week, or the highest wind shear values, are likely to actually be in the northern plains. So if this storm here kind of blocks that moisture from the Gulf from getting to where we have the wind energy, we could limit our severe weather risk. Now, I think no matter what, severe weather is going to happen next week. I think the storm has just got too much potential to not produce at least a little bit of severe weather, but this could be the difference from strong tornadoes to kind of QLCS embedded, nasty tornadoes. When I say nasty, I don't mean nasties and super strong. I mean kind of just gross EF0, quick spin up tornadoes. Obviously, you don't want either tornado, but from a meteorological standpoint, one's obviously worse than the other. So that'll be an interesting part of the forecast here. Also probably going to bring an area of showers and again, maybe a little bit of severe weather. That first disturbance there during the middle of the week. Then comes the bigger storm system. Here we go by Friday. Pause it here. Where is it? Yeah, not hard to find. Massive area of energy out west and just an absolute beast of a area of vorticity here on the map. A very strong vort max. That spins up, gets really strong, cuts through the plains. I mean, that's a strong one, folks. That's a big one. And then eventually, another thing to watch, check this out, by about Friday and Saturday, and getting into Sunday, here's our original main storm system. Pick a color you see a little bit better. Let's see, maybe, no, that's not going to work, sorry. I'm getting derailed here a little bit. Maybe this blue will work. Sure, maybe. So you can see that L kind of circle on the map. That's the original storm. Notice what's happening down south, though. I'll draw this one in black. I guess we'll do that, sure. And really not showing up very well, but that's fine. So the potential of kind of multiple storms next week. We've got the main one. Then there's just so much energy pivoting around the main piece that we could get little secondary areas of low pressure to develop, and that could enhance the severe weather risk and the flooding threat for areas further south into the middle, to the Ohio Valley, into the mid-south, and then potentially even further east towards the mid-Atlantic and southeast portions of the United States here. Now, that kind of works on through, gets on out of here, and we should be done with it by the start of next week. So not by this Monday, but the next Monday, about 10 days or so from now. So let's kind of talk about it a little bit more. What are some of the other, wild cards with this storm? Well, one of the big questions is how strong exactly is it going to get? I think no matter what, we're going to get a sub 990 millibar storm. Do we get a sub 980 millibar? Do we even somehow get a sub 970 millibar storm? Those are the questions that we're going to try to answer here. And here's the GFS projection for low pressure at the surface. All the ensemble members. Now, I'll pause it here. This is Wednesday evening. Here's a little precursor storm. Most of these members have about 1,000 millibars, so not a super strong storm. Again, strong enough to produce some rain and maybe even a little bit of severe weather. Not overly concerned with that precursor event, though, about Wednesday and Thursday. Here comes the big one, though, and check it out. This is a nasty Colorado low, just meaning it's developing here in the foothills and the plains of Colorado. Gets kicked to the east, and you'll notice the ensemble mean by the time it's over Iowa is 983, but that doesn't really tell the full story. The reason it says that is because you've got members that are quite spread. We've got members showing the center of low pressure anywhere within this circle, but most of them are in the 970s. We got a lot of 974s, 975s. You've even got one down in the 960s. It's at 968 millibars. Folks, that's strong enough to produce just a lot of wind energy and a lot of active kind of crazy weather by next, this would be Friday and Saturday, pictured below. Now, that's going to be important for a couple reasons. One, obviously, the stronger the low pressure, the stronger the wind field. Also, the position of it's going to be very important. If we get a further south track kind of down here, that could increase severe weather potential. If we get a further north track, that could limit severe weather, but still keep the blizzard side of things. And I think a blizzard is also something I'm gaining a lot of confidence in that we're going to see by next Friday, Saturday, Sunday timeframe. Somewhere within there. And here's one of the reasons why. Well, here's the latest GFS model. I really do mean the latest. This literally just ran as I was talking earlier through the other maps. So let's check it out together for the first time. Moving it ahead, and here we go. Just a ton of Rocky Mountain snow next week. Go and prepare for that by Wednesday or Thursday if you're out west. It's going to be windy. It's going to be snowing. Yeah, a lot of it here into the higher elevations. Then the storm gets out into the plains. Yeah, check this out. 968 millibars on the latest GFS. That's a strong storm, folks. That's stronger than last week's storm. That would really kick up the wind. This would bring a lot of wind energy, and this would bring blizzard conditions out into the Rockies on the backside of this thing, and eventually it would bring blizzard conditions into the plains. Notice it weakens a little bit, gets back into the 970s, but still kind of a blizzardy, icy side of this on the back end. And then on the front end, maybe a severe weather side. That instability going to be back into this kind of black circled area. The question is, though, how much instability? Because I'll remind you, the wind energy is going to be the highest up through here. So, some of the instability and wind energy are going to overlap. The question is, where does that instability get far enough north that we get tornado threat and severe just weather threat in general up into the Midwest? Well, it's possible. We just still kind of have to figure that one out. And then the GFS goes on and shows that secondary potential I was telling you about. It doesn't really show it as well on the map here, but notice a lot of rain kind of kicking up here into the Ohio Valley, into the Tennessee Valley. This would be by Saturday, Sunday. We would get a bit of a severe weather threat with that we would definitely need to watch. And then it kind of pushes on through the East Coast and brings some active weather into the eastern half of the country. A little bit less of a severe weather risk once you get east of the Appalachia chain, but still a strong storm with some severe weather risk, and then that blizzard threat into the northern plains and even portions of the Midwest, and maybe the Great Lakes as well, depending on the track. That's a GFS. What about the European? What does it show? Well, pretty similar story, folks. Here we go. Moving it all the way ahead into time. Yeah, a lot of Rocky Mountain snow by next Thursday afternoon here pictured. This would be the 13th of March. And then we get to the 14th of March. Strong storm. Not quite as strong on the European and a little bit further south, but still has that dual threat. We've got the blizzard conditions on the backside of it. We've got a bit of a severe weather threat out in front of it from Dixie Alley all the way up through the Ohio Valley, and then keeps on pushing eastbound, and we get a heavy rain, a flooding threat, and a severe weather threat in the mid-Atlantic, the southeast, and then the northeast as well gets in on the action by about next Sunday is what the European shows, and then we're good to go by about 10 days from now. All right, so those are the operational runs. Let's kind of break down the threats one by one. Let's start with severe weather. This is bulk shear, so this is the kinematic side of things. This is where we have winds going in different directions or different speeds in the atmosphere. Helps to get rotation going and kind of tilts the storms and can help them last a longer period of time and sometimes help to enhance tornado risk. So here we go. Notice the worst of it here on the European model. Let me actually back it up just a little bit. So yeah, here's the worst of it, right around here. You can see we've got a lot of bulk shear. Now, it's kind of in this general area. This would be Saturday. You can definitely see we have a lot of wind shear. I don't think that'll be something that we need to worry about. Or we will need to worry about it, but in terms of ingredients for tornadoes, the tornadoes, they've got that part of things. Same thing for just severe weather in general. I should probably refer to it as that instead of tornado threat. But there you go. You've got the wind shear, and that even moves all the way through the east. Check it out. The Carolinas get in on it, the mid-Atlantic, the northeast, the mid-south. Check out Dixie Alley. Very strong bulk shear here out of this during the Sunday time frame as the storm works on through. Now, what about instability, though? Do we have any sort of instability? Well, let's back it up. Here's the first little storm. You notice a little bit of a surge of moisture out ahead of that by Wednesday and Thursday. Like I said, that could produce severe weather. We'll need to watch it. But then the bigger return comes in front of the next storm. So here's next Saturday afternoon. We've got a lot of surface moisture down into Dixie Alley. We've got a little bit into the Ohio Valley, but really the most of it back down here into Dixie. Now, I just take a random sounding in here just out of my own pure curiosity. Yeah, we got wind shear, we've got moisture, and the model is projecting a possible hazard type of tornadoes. So saying that we've got a favorable kinematic and thermodynamic environment for severe weather. So we'll need to watch it. Again, it's too soon to get into all the specifics here, but definitely a moisture return out ahead of this, and that gets into the mid-Atlantic by Sunday. You can see North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina getting in on that moisture return Sunday, and then we dry out and clear out behind it, and then maybe out in the long run another storm system comes. But your guess is as good as mine at that point in time. Now, what about the blizzard side of things, the snowy side of things? No matter what, a lot of snow in the Rockies. I think blizzard conditions going to be possible here into kind of Wyoming, Colorado, that area, but you'll notice nonetheless, if I go and back it up into time a little bit, check out just that big surge of snow out into the Rockies. A lot of it going to be pretty easy to come by, and then another surge of snow into the Dakotas, Minnesota, and even all the way back down into Nebraska. Now, the models have been kind of low on the snowfall totals, so they've been showing more of like a 5-inch kind of snow event. Again, too soon to get into exact specifics on if that'll be the case, but most of them show this mean of 2 to 4 inches of snow. Okay, so you're thinking, all right, well, that's not a big deal. The problem though is whenever you add in this is the wind gust map. And this is the ensembles. Check out the winds. This is Friday. I mean, we've got crazy winds down into portions of New Mexico, Texas, and then it moves up to where we're going to see that snow. And you got winds gusting near 40, 50 miles an hour on top of any sort of snow falling. That's enough to cause problems. And then check out in front of the storm, we've got gusty winds into the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley. Power outages could absolutely become a concern here with this storm, and then pushes into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast by the end of next weekend. So that's kind of the wind and snow side of things. Final thing we'll talk about are temperatures. Is it going to be hot or cold? Well, this is this afternoon. Pockets of warmer air in the southeast, pockets of cooler air in the mid-south, warmer air in the north, cooler air in the northeast. Kind of a mess today, bit of a hodgepodge on the temperature map, but the trend becomes a little clearer by the time we get into early next week. Again, kind of a messy couple of days in the temperature trend, but then we get to next Tuesday afternoon here and notice a much warmer trend for really just about everyone in the country, especially east of the Mississippi, and that holds on for a while. Here is Wednesday afternoon. Here's Thursday afternoon. Here's Friday afternoon. So I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday going to be absolutely gorgeous in the east outside of any little bit of rain or slight severe weather threat we need to watch about further south into Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, and potentially even all the way out east towards the Carolinas. But overall, plenty of nice days in there and nice time frames. And then comes that clash of air masses, and it gets cooler again behind the storm system on at least for some of us. We'll see exactly who. But definitely a warmer trend next week, I think, looks a lot more likely for folks in the United States. Alrighty, folks, that's all I got for you on this Saturday. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And definitely get out there and enjoy some of the nicer weather to come, but let's get through today and some of the more active weather between today, tomorrow, and even into Monday through the Carolinas. All right, folks, y'all have a great one. Stay safe out there. I'll see you all next time.